So I'm recording this in my car at the moment, in the middle of nowhere, and it's like 11 o'clock at night, because I've just gone and seen Batman: The Killing Joke, the animated movie. Up where, well, not where I live actually. I had to drive quite a while out to go and find a cinema that was showing it where tickets were available because it was sold out. But yeah, I went and saw that tonight, and I was just going to go home and just go to bed, but then I thought, well, I'll do this now in the car, which is a bit unusual for me, but I'll probably forget half of it when I go to sleep, so I'm quite tired, and I wanted to talk about it now because it was a really, really, really good film, and I've got to stress here, I haven't read the graphic novel of Batman: The Killing Joke. You know, I haven't. I know the story for the most part and the main bits behind it and what's in it, but I hadn't read it. So I went into this a little bit blind, but I knew some of the key bits, and therefore I was able to look out for them. And the film, I believe, really does capture the graphic novel as if it's a flowing animation, you know, as if you've just taken the graphic novel out of the pages of the book and then just rolled it as a animation, you know. It really does it does a very good job of capturing the graphic novel to the T, with a few extra shots and what have you. But overall, it was a really good, faithful adaptation of it. What I'll do is I'll just talk about the bits I liked about it, the bits I didn't like, and then my overall opinion. And I'll try not to spend too long, so I actually have to go to bed in a bit. I'm knackered. But breaking it down, the main bits of the film I really liked was the animation. For the most part, was really good. There were some really nice still shots of Gotham City, and you looking over it as if you're on top of a skyscraper looking down on it. Really good shots of that, and a few good shots of the city itself, you know, down the alleyways and stuff like that, but mostly off the rooftops because that's where Batman and Batgirl sort of hang out, as they're in the film and the novel. Some really good shots of Gotham City, although it wasn't very gothic. I don't know what it's like in the graphic novel. It's very Chicago-like, so the city doesn't really have a gothic feel to it. It feels just like a very modernized Chicago version of the city. It still had some dark elements to it, and you do get one shot of a gargoyle, but that's about it. It's a very modernized city, and that's okay, but I quite like the gothic style versions of Gotham, you know, where, you know, like in the original Batman the Animated Series, I believed it made Gotham City a bit more gothic than it does in this film, or at least in this novel. So yeah, I'd like to have seen the city in a bit more of a gothic state, but other than that, it served its purpose as a city. You know, it is what it is. The main focus is at the city, but the animation and the still shots of the city when it's changing scenes, or if it's a scene transition, really good. The animations of the characters were, for the most part, really good, but sometimes they came across a little bit stiff and wooden, especially in the first half hour of the film. I couldn't help but notice as I was watching it, some of the characters, like they'd be talking and saying something, but it would look like as if they were a robot. And I'm not necessarily going to fault the graphic novel or the story for that, I just fault the animators. And it did detract it a little bit from the emotion of the scene or the action from the scene. But you'll be happy to know it's very minor. You really, really do have to be nitpicky like me to detect it. And it does get better as the movie progresses. I notice the animation gets, at least for the characters anyway, in terms of their emotions and their facial expressions and what have you, and their body movements, it gets better and stays better. So it's, for some reason, for the first half hour of the film, some of the characters appear quite wooden and stiff when they're talking or doing something. And it just seems a bit, But the main characters, Batman, Batgirl, Commissioner Gordon, one of the bad guys at the beginning of the film, who's not the Joker, who I thought he was, but he wasn't, and then the Joker himself, they're animated very well. Occasionally there's a stiff moment here and there with them, but for the most part they you can watch them and you believe that they're there and you believe that they're doing what they're doing, which is good. So the animation of the characters started off a bit stiff, but they get better and for the most part are really good. And just the general colour of the film as well. The colour scheme was excellent colour scheme. You know, very dark and foreboding, but not too dark that it was like all greys and dark purples and dark blacks and all that. No, it still had some colour in it that was bright, or at least brighter than it should be. You know, which was good. Batgirl was animated extremely well, very close to the animated TV series version of her, as in Batman the Animated Series. A very close rendition of of her in the film. Like, if you've seen her in Batman the Animated Series, she's pretty much the same in this film, but a little bit more human-like, and she has bigger breasts. I know that might sound a bit pervy, but she does. But other than that, Batgirl's really good in this film. The voice actress for her, excellent, really believable performance. I think it's the same voice actress as the Animated Series. I don't know. I haven't watched enough of the Animated Series to say. But either way, Batgirl in this film, or Barbara Gordon. It's not Barbara Gordon, is it? It's Barbara... I can't remember Gordon's surname now. Oh, yeah, it is Gordon. Yeah, of course, yeah, Jim Gordon, isn't it? Yeah, Barbara Gordon. Very good. Brilliant. Really well animated. Really good character. You're really with her all the time in this film. And she has a lot of misfortune happen to her. I mean, if you've read The Killing Joke, you know what it is. But if you haven't, I don't really want to spoil it. But damn, she gets a lot of dark stuff happen to her. But she still kicks ass, and she's still strong. And, there's the revelation at the end, what happens to her at the end of the film, what she becomes later on in the comics and in the graphic novels, etc., and the animated series. It's really cool. But Barbara Gordon in this is fantastic. Jim Gordon's Jim Gordon. He's just who he is. He's fine. He's literally cut out from the animated series. Batman is voiced by Kevin Conroy, if I've got that right. Again, the voice actor for Batman in the animated series and in the video games, the Arkham Asylum video games, or Arkham games, I should say, of recent times. He's fine, he just plays Batman, plays it cool, plays it, usual dark brooding stuff, but he does a good job. You believe he's Batman, no problems there. Nothing special, but it's just him delivering his staple performance. It's great. So yeah, Batman's fine. He's normal, dark, broody self. But he's fine. Sometimes looks a little weird in the facial department, occasionally, but for the most part, he looks cool. The Joker... Again, like I said, he's not a stiff rendition of him, but when he's just talking and monologuing and all that stuff, and he's just doing things, he looks all right. Nothing brilliant. I preferred him in the animated series with his sharper lines, but in this film he looks a bit more human, which I believe is probably the point of the film and of the story, is to try and humanise the Joker and humanise characters in general, because it is a very, very mature, very dark, emotional story that deals with a lot of, well, not a lot of, but it deals with some adult issues and mature content in this film and in the story. So there's a bit of human elements to him, which I think detracts from the Joker a little bit, but because it's his story and blah, 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 I get why they've done that. I'm not criticising the animators for it, actually. I believe it's the same animation in the graphic novel. But when he's just doing his usual stuff, he looks a bit too human, I think. Only just, I'm being very nitpicky here. He's still cool. He's still awesome. Voiced by Mark Hamill, who I believe is the best Joker. I love Heath Ledger as much as the next person. He's brilliant and still stands out as a brilliant live-action performance. I still like Nicholson. Nicholson's a bit campier, but I like his cooler intentions behind him, and I think he was funny. And Heath Ledger was just incredible, but I really do dig Mark Hamill's voice acting performances. I mean, Cesar Romero, again, I liked for the campiness of the Adam West Batman series. Again, basically a lot of people who play the Joker are really, really good, but if I had to pick a favourite, it would be Mark Hamill. And Mark Hamill's in this voicing the Joker once again, even though he said countless times recently he's never going to do it again. He just keeps going back to it. Whatever, Mark, if it works for you, just keep going, old chum, until you pop your clogs. I mean, I prefer you as the Joker than I do as Luke Skywalker in Star Wars, but then I'm not a Star Wars fan, and I'm not saying Mark Hamill's about Luke Skywalker. Of course not, that's sacrilege, but I'm just saying if somebody says Mark Hamill, I go Joker, not Skywalker, if you know what I mean. Anyway, brilliant performance for this. I mean, given the script he had to have, he did a good job. He just played the Joker as he does, and he's still got the laugh, and he's got the emotional pack that he always gives the Joker in terms of his voice delivery, his emotions, and the laugh is brilliant. I mean, the laugh's not really in it this much in this film, but it's there in hints. But yeah, he really does voice the Joker well, and it's just his performance again, but it's still a joy to listen to and watch as well, the animated version of his voice. Really good stuff. So Hamill's in it and he's good. But yeah, my biggest problem with the Joker is too human-like, but that, I guess, is the point of the story. But having said that, and I slam my hand on my steering wheel while I say this for some reason, the shots of him when he's doing the bad deed involving Barbara. There's one shot where I might as well spoil it a little bit. Barbara is with Gordon in her apartment. They're talking about past cases, and Gordon keeps working. And then the doorbell rings to her apartment, and she says, "Oh, it's some friend of hers who's coming round, and they're going to do some work out together and what have you." And Gordon's like, "Okay." And she answers the door, and as she answers the door, you know when the doorbell rings that it's not going to be her friend, it's going to be the Joker, and sure enough it is. And there is an incredible few frames of animation where she opens the door, the camera is from the Joker standing by the door, looking at the doorway, looking into Barbara as she opens the door. It's just a simple shot. She opens the door, she's halfway talking to Gordon, she turns back round, and it just freezes momentarily of her trying to make sense of what's in front of her. And then it just cuts to the Joker, but with a sort of close-up of his face, shadowed in the darkness of the corridor of the corridor of the apartment complex. And he's just got his hat on, and you can just see this really, really sadistic, cruel smile on him. But half his face is covered in darkness, and the other half is in light, but his eyes, it's really weird. But it's so cool. And he's wearing like this Hawaiian shirt, and then he's just still, it's just like a static image of him. It's really, really scary and really quite intimidating picture of him. And then the camera pans down to him holding this revolver, and you know what's going to go down. And that shot of him just there on the doorway is beautiful. It just, damn, it was scary. I know I'm just picking on one frame of animation, or at least a couple of frames of animation, or what have you, but that scene unfolding was so well done. I think that's probably one of the best bits of the movie. And there's a few other scenes of the Joker's close-up face. There's a bit where he's basically, there's a bit in the film and in the novel where they try to give a backstory of the Joker, hence the humanizing of him. They try to give him a sort of like a backstory where he's had a lot of misfortune happen to him and blah 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 blah. And it's not a bad attempt, you can understand why he becomes the Joker. And the point where he does become the Joker, there's a brilliant still image of him like clutching his face, going just laughing manically. And again, it's this almost inhuman demon-like picture of his face. It's in the graphic novel, but it's done so much better in the film. Oh God, it's scary. There's two really good close-up shots of the Joker that just captures, I believe, the essence of his darkness so well. It's just worth watching the film for that. I want like a still of it on my bedroom wall. It's that good, and better than I think it's better in the film than it is in the graphic novel. It's so much sharper and scarier. I won't spoil it for you. Just go and watch the film. You'll see what I mean. But when you see it, you're like, oh shit, you're screwed. It's that bad. As in that scary bad, not bad as in it's awful, bad as in oh my god, it's all going to go wrong. So those couple of scenes of him was brilliant, and for the most part he's fine. But the biggest fault I had with the Joker in this film, and indeed with this film, and I'm going to stress here, I don't believe it's the film's fault or the writer's fault. They wrote this film as close to the graphic novel as possible, even lifting some of, a lot of the lines. It could be literally just the script of the graphic novel. I haven't read the graphic novel. I'll need to read it to confirm that. But you can tell that the majority of the film's script is just the graphic novel, which is fine. But the biggest problem that I have with the novel, and therefore the film, and therefore the Joker, but again, I'm not blaming the film for this. I'm blaming the story. Is that he's not funny. He really isn't funny in this film. He's not funny in the story. And that really annoys me. Now, if you've read the novel or you've even watched this, you're probably thinking, Neo, why is that a problem? It's not meant to be funny. This is a very, very dark rendition of the Joker. It's an interpretation, and a really dark one at that. It really delves into his psyche as to how and why he became the Joker, and his perception on life and perception of reality, and how his perception is the right one. It's all to do with the Joker justifying his existence. Why it's supposed to be dark, it's supposed to be gritty, it's supposed to be the Joker literally going into himself and really telling the audience and telling Batman why he is who he is, and it's a personal story for him. Why would it be funny? And my answer to that is, well, he's the Joker. It's got to be funny. He's the Joker, He's funny, and I didn't really laugh at him at all. Even with his little jokes that he quirks in when he's talking and he tries to pop a joke, they just weren't funny. They were really flat. And again, I'm not faulting the film for this, or the animation, the animators, or Mark Hamill, or anything like that. I'm just faulting the actual story itself. He's not funny, and I really think that detracts away from what this story was trying to do to interpret the Joker. It makes him less scary when he's not funny. When he's in the doorway at Barbara's apartment, and the moment when he turns into the Joker and you see his face and he's all crazy, that is the scary bits, and that's all you need. Those bits, fine. Make them scary as possible. Don't make them funny. Just make them be thinking, oh shit. That's fine. But when he's doing his thing and he's setting up the trap and trying to get Batman, make him funny, because that's who he is. He's the Joker, and I believe that makes it even darker for him and gives him an even darker interpretation of him. Because even though this story is meant to go into his psyche a little bit and really meant to try and get you to understand why he does what he does, and even himself to a certain degree, and I get that, that's fine. You've got to remember, he's still the Joker. He's still got to be funny. He's got to be funny where he does something or says something, and you, as the audience, you laugh, but in the back of your mind, you're thinking, should I be laughing at this? It is funny, but it's not cool. You know, that's the darkness of it. That's the Joker being dark, is when he gets to you as an audience member when you're watching him, not because of just, oh, he did a really dark, bad thing. Ugh. Oh, scary. Oh, why could he do such a thing? Not like that. He gets to you by making you join him, by making you laugh with him. Not at him, laugh with him. That's where he gets dark. And I don't think this novel did it very well at all. I get it. Again, I stress, I know it's just an interpretation, and I know it's just a dark one. But this is supposed to be one of the best Batman stories out there. Batman comics, Batman graphic novels, Batman things, you know. This is meant to be one of the best ones, if not the best one to some people. It's really highly rated. And again, the film is well animated, the emotions are brilliant, and the emotional issues are brilliant, the voice actors are fantastic, and the animation for the most part is great. And I really enjoyed watching it. I'm so glad I got to watch this tonight. My friend booked tickets for me to see it, and we had trouble booking them, but he booked them so I could go see it. And I give him hats off to that. I'm glad I've seen it. And like I said, if you love the graphic novel, you must watch this film. It's brilliant. And I still like this film. I'm not saying that I hate this film at all. I don't. What I don't like about it, or what detracts me from it being a great story, is the fact that the Joker isn't funny. And it's just a bit too dark. It's a bit too serious. Which is fine. Again, I don't mind it being too dark, I don't mind it too serious, but it just doesn't gel. For me personally, it doesn't gel with the Joker and or Batman and his relationship with the Joker and vice versa. Even though that's what it's trying to do. The only bit that was good, that I thought was an acceptable dark interpretation of both Batman and the Joker, is right at the very end. I won't spoil it for you, but there's a scene between Batman and Joker, and it's literally the closing scene of the film and of the graphic novel, and I love it. And in the film, if you've read the graphic novel, you know that scene at the very end. The film really does a good job of it. I mean, it does a fantastic job of it, capturing that scene. Really good. And it really, that's the best dark bit of the film. That's when you can laugh and then go, should I be laughing at this? That was what I was looking for. There should have been more moments like that in the story, or more moments like that in the film. But yeah, it was good. So the last bits of the film are great. And the music as well. I forgot about the music. The music's good as well. The music is it's subtle, actually. There was like a documentary bit to this film. There was like a bit about Mark Hamill talking about his ventures as voicing the Joker and what have you, and his time on the animated series and in the games, and then this film. And then at the end of the film, there was another documentary section about the people who did the music, and a bit more about the voice acting and the people who animated it and stuff. They really hyped up the music as being, oh, it's really meant to match the dark stuff of the film, blah, blah, blah. It really manipulates the audience. It really makes you know that this is going to be bad and makes you feel bad, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't, but it's good. The music is good. It complements the story as opposed to dominates it or overstays its welcome. It's a good complement. That's all this music is in this film. It complements it really well, and not over the top. It's not overboarding or over exaggerative or overstaying its welcome. No, it just complements it, but it's nothing to be excited about, but it does keep in tone with the film well enough. And I actually think, you know, next to the animation and the voice acting and even the designs of the characters to some degree, the music is also one of the best bits of the film. The music's good because it's so subtle. It's quiet, but it's there, and it really does make you go, oh shit. You know, very well. So the music is good. It does match the tone. It doesn't ruin it. It's good, and it's not over the top. As much as they were hyping it up, and I suppose they would do. I mean, they're the the writers of the music and performers of it. It's good. It matches the film very well. It's very good. The soundtrack to this film is good. But it's very subtle. You know, you'll forget about it, but you don't need to remember it. What you want to remember is the animation and the scenes of the film, which this film does well. You won't forget this film. Even like me, I've never read the graphic novel. I know the story, but I'm not going to forget this anytime soon. It was impactful enough for me to go, that was good. Is it the best Batman interpretation film? No, but it's certainly one of the best ones. And it's... Oh, sorry, I do apologize. I've been distracted by some sort of flying object. Could be a plane, could be a flying saucer. Meh, whatever. Just don't abduct me, please, whatever you are. It's really good. It's one of the best Batman films. It's certainly better than The Dark Knight Rises. Let's just say that. You know, it's better than Dark Knight Rises, and I believe to a certain degree it's better than The Dark Knight. Maybe. I like The Dark Knight, but I didn't like the last third of the film. The last third of the film was a bit poopy. But it's good. It's really good. And for an animation, I'll tell you, actually, yeah, I'll close my thoughts and feelings off of the film with this. As an animated film, it's good. As an animated Batman film, as an animated Batman story, it is good. Okay? It's solid. It's good. It really does capture everything the novel does well, and it doesn't pull any punches. In fact, actually, it's really cleverly done as well. The bits that are very dark and mature and quite graphic are done in a way where you see it happen, but then the camera does sort of go away from it a bit, not in a sort of semi-censorship bit to sort of make it dark but not too dark that it's too gory or gritty, but it pulls away just enough for you to not see all of it but still see some of it, but to let your imagination take place instead about what's going on or what's happening to that person or the pain they're going through. It's really well done, and yeah, it's you won't forget this film in terms of that. It does deal with the mature content really well. So as an animated film, I was very pleased with it. Even though, like I said, some of the animation of the characters is a bit wooden, you won't forget it. I won't forget it anytime soon. As soon as it comes out on DVD or Blu-ray, I'm going to get it. It's really good. But yeah, my biggest problem is it wasn't very funny, and I know it wasn't meant to be, but it kind of spoiled it a little bit for me. But I don't regret seeing this. It's well worth a watch. So if you really are a fan of The Killing Joke, and Batman in general, go and see this film. Just go see it. You will love it. You won't regret it. It is brilliant. It is brilliant. I'll tell you what you should do. Don't overanalyze it. Don't overthink it and nitpick it like I do. Just watch it for what it is and enjoy it. Okay? That's what you should do. Right. I'm going to go now so I can get home and go to bed. So, can I say thank you very much for listening to this if you have done. It's been... just another audio recording, really. I suppose. I don't know where I was going with that line. Yeah, take it easy. Have a good one. I hope you are well. Go and see this film when you can, if you can. If you can't see it now, try and get it off Netflix or download it or whatever. See it, enjoy it, love it, and don't overthink it like I did. Okay, just don't. But until then, have a good one, and I hope to see you in the next video. So, bye for now, and sweet dreams.